Respected Shri Ganesh Kumar Sir, CGM RBI, Mr. Ravi, Mr. Sumnesh Joshi, other distinguished guests on the dais and off the dais. It's a very opportune moment for me to be here today because a lot of streams of my life have come together today. One is that I can proudly say that I have been an ex-RBI officer and I was just working here in this very same area, 10 minutes walkable distance from here for 4 years. So, and also I can say that I have worked in various aspects which have some touch with the current demonetization phase going on. So I was part of the team which was in the initial days implementing the RTGS in the clearinghouse in Nariman Point, and also I have been the manager in charge of the central RBI vault for 1 year in the just Fort office and all that. So I can say that the entire value chain of demonetization I have had some experience. And in my current and previous profile, I have also worked with cashless and other technologies, taking them to the rural people. So I can claim a 360-degree experience as far as this cash flow and demonetization is concerned. So some of the ideas I want to share is that throughout when we are talking about technology, it's a very august gathering, so naturally we will tend to talk about very cutting edge things, about the near future and the far future. But we also have to deal with a lot of legacy challenges. Ganesh Kumar sir has told you who is going to be your prime customer. But always there is another aspect to our thinking, is that inclusionary aspect and also the adoption. In the current drive, we are running a lot of camps in the past 1 month to enable people to go cashless. A lot of pain points even within the current industry. Still we have to tell the people. So when we go to the hawkers and vendors and we tell them you adopt these cashless payments with the support of bankers and even wallet companies and all that. So there are a lot of related factors that is inhibiting the adoption. One is that basically connectivity is a major issue that you should be able to have, and the availability of smartphones. And third is that where the person will learn how to do a basic thing. It is very easy for us to gather some 100 people, put them in a meeting hall, show a presentation with slides and say this is how mobile banking is done or wallet is done. And then everyone agrees and accepts and moves on. Then what happens next? There is nothing. Because that onboarding process, somebody has to guide them. In fact, that is one of the ironies of why we are not getting the full benefits of digital technologies in this country, is that there is nobody to onboard somebody. The majority of the population or the people who are now getting exposed are not digital natives. And there is nobody who can give them a green card to become the digital immigrants. How do we enable or speeden up that process? That is something that the industry, the government and everyone has to jointly address. Because to enable that pain point is the biggest challenge. One of the experiments we did was that Akodra Digital Village, which was done 2 years ago. When you are doing something too much ahead of the time, it's very difficult to convince your stakeholders also, the Sarpanch of the village and all that. So that time we had a discussion with the 2 years ago with the ICICI Bank people when they wanted to do some cashless things in a village. I was the district development officer of that district, and I thought it as a good opportunity to mainstream something which is anyway going to be the future. Now there are a lot of cashless options about how to go about doing the transactions, and that time it was the SMS payments and closed loop card mechanism was implemented there. But what is unique about that village is that it's not just the technology, it was implemented somewhere, but we were trying to go beyond banking and trying to take a holistic view about how the village could be digital in various life cycle, from a person who is born today to the person who is retired and just spending his last days of his life in the village. How could he benefit from the digital in the overall life cycle? So we covered the Anganwadi and school and the skill development, vocational education, e-health center, dairy payments, were also made cashless, and as a special case, the farmers of the village were also linked to the APMC, where even their APMC money was also credited to their bank account, which they could, we basically tried to avoid dealing with cash. That was 2 years ago. Talking about those things 2 years ago was looking very, exotic or something too unnecessary. But within 2 years, the time has changed, and today, now everyone is talking about cashless. So when that is another thing. Today, when we are talking about cyber security, maybe we are 1 year, 2 years ahead of what is in the general mainstream thinking. But onboarding the mainstream people into these kind of thinking is the biggest challenge that we all have to address together. Another related challenge that we all have seen is that I always used to say that learning about digital is like learning to bicycle. If you don't learn it before 15 years, you are never going to learn it in full-fledged way in your life. You will never learn it after that. So before 15 years, somebody, your college mate, your school friend, or somebody is going to help you, you together do it, you fall down, you cycle, and then you get a confidence. After that, you are going to manage. But once you cross that time, it is very difficult, and the person will never feel comfortable. When 15, 20 years ago or 25 years ago, when computers were introduced in government, people feared to touch the mouse because they feared that something might go wrong. So the challenge is not one part is technology, the bigger part is about the human nature and the culture and the society. So there we need to speeden up the process, because the rate of speed of technology is so high that if we are going to wait for the best mobile phone to come, we will never buy the mobile phone, because there is always something new that's going to come up. So the maturity, technology that is apt to the maturity of the person, how do we sell it? So now we have a bouquet of options with the Aadhaar ecosystem and the Jandan Aadhaar and mobile model, JAM model, and also the latest upcoming is called the India Stack, is all providing the possibility of giving a bouquet of technology choices, especially in the banking and the identity crisis that we are facing. Once upon a time, if a person's credibility was to be identified, his reputation was his identity. After that, his word became his identity, that if the person says, that is supposed to happen. After that, we had paper contracts and other things, and then we moved on from the biometric and other technologies, and now we are again maybe going back to a full circle into a way where there will be seamless identification, where we don't need to prove your identity in every case. You will already be identified with multi-factors and other things. So there will be the seamless elimination of any pain points among this. Another related challenge we faced is there is no dispersion of technology, or the rate of adoption of technology in the rural areas. It's very, very I would say very ironic that major part of the population we are talking about mainstream, we are talking about big technologies, but the real adoption in real life is still a big challenge to be addressed. So there we need to work with the people. We have when we are talking about smart cities, we have to talk about smart villages and how to disperse these things in technology to enable the people. Because what I find, because I have been an industry insider, I am with the government, but when I am working with the people, I always find that the benefits of technology, there is a tendency to harness or hold it for some more time, maybe in terms of, unless the competition forces the real dispersion of technology doesn't happen. And there is a chance for multiple players to come together and provide the citizens better. I am sure that no organization will have profit as its motive. They will only have a mission where profit is also part of it. But sometimes we see that profit displaces the main mission or the vision statement of the company, where it will say that enabling the customers to do this, enabling the society to do this and all that. But that never comes in any discussion. I know that we all live quarter to quarter and other these things, but somewhere beyond that, when we climb our ladder very fast, we need to put it against the right wall also. Otherwise, we will be creating a very imbalanced society, which is another thought which I wanted to fill in the gap about what the complementary to what the other ideas that are floating around. Connectivity is a major challenge. Still, we are not able to do that. We are talking about 3G, 4G, or even 5G. So that is another challenge that needs to be addressed. Of course, that is there are a lot of other industry which is doing that. As far as Surat is concerned, we have been selected as the fourth, smart city in the first challenge of the first top 20 cities. We are aiming to be the number one in the next 6 months. We are planning to be the most livable city in the world. We are competing on a global scale. We are in the process of doing ISO 37102, which is a data quality for the cities. All our projects are in RFP and implementation stages. We are right now, our RFP for common city payment card is on. So any bankers here could explore the option. 9 out of 10 diamonds which are polished in the world is done in Surat. And the diamond booths, which is right now operating in Bombay, will be moving to Surat in next few years. A city called Dream City is being built. The process has already started, land has been allotted. And we are also aiming to be the first fiber-enabled city where we will be able to provide fiber to the home facilities to every resident at affordable rates. That project also is currently the UI is on. So we are trying to build a gigabit city, which is having the physical infrastructure and the social infrastructure and also the IT infrastructure to enable the best quality of life for the citizens. So I thank the organizers for giving me this opportunity to share some thoughts. I thank you, everyone.